So imagine this for a second. A society that's been designed from the top down, a place where every single choice, I mean everything from your haircut to who you vote for, is decided for you by the state. That's what we're digging into today. We're looking at the architecture of control inside North Korea, and we're piecing it all together from the stories of people who actually managed to escape. And this quote, it really gets to the heart of it. Think about that. The state's power isn't just about stopping you from doing something, it's about controlling what you might even think about doing. That's the bedrock of the whole system we're about to unpack.
All right, so how do you even build a society like this? And more importantly, how do you keep it going? We're going to break it down into 6 key pieces. We'll start with the illusion of choice, look at the family dynasty that started it all, then get into how they control the narrative, design daily life, and build this, well, architecture of fear that holds everything together.
Okay, Section 1, a nation without options. So where does this kind of total control even start? Well, funny enough, it all kicks off with an election. You know, a process that, on the surface, is supposed to be all about democracy. But in reality, it's engineered to be the complete opposite. See, every single citizen has to vote. It's mandatory. But here's the catch. When they get that ballot, there's no actual choice to make. There's just one name on it, one single candidate, already handpicked by the government. And that's when you realize what these elections are really for. It's not about choosing a leader at all. It's a loyalty test, plain and simple. It's a way for the state to do a head count of who's on board. And when they get that 100% turnout, they can broadcast it as this incredible national unity. But if you don't show up, that's not just you skipping out on your civic duty. No, that's considered an act of treason.
So you have to wonder, how did one family get this much absolute power? Well, to understand that, we have to rewind the clock back to the country's really turbulent beginnings, right after World War II.
Okay, so after 35 years of Japanese rule, Korea gets divided. With the Soviet Union's backing, Kim Il-sung steps in as the North's very first leader. Then the Korean War kicks off, and it just cements that division. I mean, technically, that war never officially ended with a peace treaty. And ever since then, power has just been passed down, from father to son to grandson. It's created the world's one and only communist dynasty.
Now, if you're going to keep that kind of dynastic power going, you have to build some serious walls. And I'm not just talking about physical walls on a border. I'm talking about walls that completely block the flow of information from the rest of the world.
The whole foundation of this control is a complete information blackout. The state is the one and only source of news. That's it. There's no such thing as an independent journalist, and absolutely no connection to the global internet. They've basically sealed the entire population inside a media bubble that they control. And this control is, well, it's total. Your TV and radio sets, they're literally locked, so you can only get state channels. If you get caught watching something like a Hollywood movie or, say, a South Korean drama, you could end up in a labor camp. The internet they have is really just a national internet. It's completely cut off from the outside world and heavily monitored. Want to make an international phone call? You're going to need a government permit for that. And they even do regular checks on things like USB drives and phones, looking for any foreign content. The whole point is to stop what they call ideological contamination and make sure their story is the only story people ever get to hear.
Okay, so once you control what people see and hear, what's the next step? Well, it's controlling how they express themselves. This is where the state's reach gets really personal, right down to your everyday choices.
I mean, we're talking about the state telling you how to wear your hair. There's literally a list of government-approved hairstyles. And things we take for granted, like blue jeans or dyed hair or even sunglasses, all banned. They're seen as symbols of a corrupt Western culture that has to be kept out.
And this control, it just seeps into every little part of your life. You need a permit just to travel from one city to another. The home you live in, it's not really yours, it belongs to the state. And any kind of organized religion is completely forbidden, because that would mean having a loyalty to something or someone other than the Kim family.
So, with all these rules, how do you actually enforce them? Well, you do it through what can only be described as an architecture of fear. It's a set of systems designed to make the price of stepping out of line just impossibly high.
And this might just be the most chilling tool they have. It's called the 3-generation punishment. Here's how it works. If you're found guilty of a serious political crime, it's not just you who goes to a prison camp. Your entire family, for 3 generations, goes with you. Just think about that. It means your children and your grandchildren will pay for your crime. It means a person can literally be born inside a prison camp, branded a traitor for something a grandparent they never even met did.
That number, 3, it's the core of the whole system. It just raises the stakes of any kind of rebellion to a level you can barely imagine. It's not just your life on the line anymore. It's the future of your entire family. And that ensures that the fear of punishment is passed down through generations, policing people from the inside out.
And it's not just about punishment. Society itself is rigidly divided from the moment you're born, all thanks to a system called Songbun. This thing sorts everyone into 3 classes based on your family's political history. So if your great-grandfather was a revolutionary hero, you're in the core class. You get the best jobs, the best education, you could even live in the capital. But if your ancestor was, say, a landowner or had any ties to South Korea, you're in the hostile class. And that means you're stuck with the worst jobs and basically no opportunities. For life, your entire future is decided before you even take your first breath.
So when you put all of these systems together, the control over information, personal choice, your social status, what you get is an entire nation that's completely sealed off, living in its own kind of manufactured reality.
The state's control is so absolute, it literally extends to the concept of time itself. See, North Korea doesn't use the same calendar as the rest of the world. Nope, they use the Juche calendar. And for them, year 1 is 1912, the year their founder, Kim Il-sung, was born. It's a way to reinforce this idea that the nation's real history only began with him.
So while most of the world is living in the year 2026, for the people inside North Korea, it will be Juche 115. It sounds like a small thing, right? But it speaks volumes about just how deep the country's ideological isolation really goes.
Yeah, it is absolutely vital to remember where all this information comes from. Our window into North Korea is almost entirely built on the stories of people who have risked everything to escape. The reality on the ground right now might have changed, but getting verified, up-to-date information is pretty much impossible.
And that really leaves us with this one big question to think about. We've just walked through the blueprint of a society designed for total control. So what actually happens when a society's entire reality is constructed, curated, and then completely sealed off from the outside world? What does that do to people?